Hey everyone, it's GOZR, or GOZR apparently. JV West commented last week, the creator of the game, suggesting that the preferred title is actually GOZR, and I've been calling it GOZR all this time because that made more sense to me, Goose. But GOZR also works, so there we go, GOZR. So first thing, I was able to do a brief interview in the Soloist newsletter, in the Inquiral. And I did see a little bump in subscribers. So if you've made it this far after subscribing, great. Thanks for coming. If you're not subscribed to the Soloist newsletter and you're interested in solo RPGs, I highly, highly recommend it. I'll put a link in the thing. It's actually a problem because it comes every week and I find out about more games, solo games that I want to play than I can possibly keep up with, and links to all sorts of other content. It's really great. If you're interested in solo RPGs, highly recommend the Soloist newsletter. So last week on GOZR, Camm and Xamxes took shelter in the safe house of the Divine Libertines, who break all the rules. They had a bonding moment over their shared star lucky symbol, which is on their belly. And then in the next morning, the Libertines could not decide what to do, how to handle this new Liza situation. And so they just all went their separate ways, as might be expected of anarchists. Camm and Xamxes got lost in the sandstorm that picked up, and they took shelter in a building, and they met a food maker that from one of the factions previously named Auntie. And when we last left them, the room was slowly filling up with sand and they need to escape. So that is where we are. So let's get into it. All right, one other thing, just to let you know kind of what I'm thinking, where my mind's at as we head into this episode. So in the last episode, when our heroes went out, there was no evidence of Liza and her minions. And then when they ran into Auntie, it was like, any news from the Northern Corridor? And Auntie did not have any news. So there's sort of like a suspicious absence of Liza's presence in the city, which seems weird to me based on what we know so far. And then also the sandstorm is accelerating. And it all just seems kind of weird. So I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm just kind of putting that idea of this absence of Liza's minions after like this very like quick and forceful attempt at a takeover. I'm sort of putting that into the ether as we head forward. We have to escape this room filling up with sand. Our chaos factor is up at 7, if you can believe it. And so the first thing we have to do is roll to see if we get a random event or an interrupted scene. No, we don't. Okay, so we're just going into the scene. We've got our 3 GOZRs in there, and they're trying to escape this room filling up with sand from the storm. So they look around, and I'm wondering, we've established it's like an abandoned building. There's no doors or windows, so that's where the sand is coming in from. It's just sort of a plain white building, empty. Is there an exit through the ceiling? Call that 50-50, which at chaos factor 7 is actually 75. So is there an exit through the ceiling? 66. Yes, but it's a doubles. This is the first time we've had a doubles, I think, in this campaign. In Mythic, when you roll doubles on the fate chart, that triggers a random event having to do with the question you just asked or related. So what is the focus of this random event? 68. Closing a thread. 7. That's stop Liza from taking over the city. Oh, weird. Okay, so I have an idea about what this means, but we need to get out of the room first. So we'll loop back around to that. But Liza is no longer going to be in the picture, which dovetails really interestingly with the idea that I put forth. Isn't Mythic just amazing? I just love Mythic. It's so fun the way it all kind of works itself out. So there's some sort of opening in the ceiling, and Camm has a flying spell. So that's good. It's 2 points of whiz. And now needs to lift up both Xamxes and Auntie up out of the room that's filling up with sand. I would call that a prowess roll, lifting. And Xamxes looks a little bit huskier, a little bit bigger. So Camm says,
all right, I've cast my flight spell. I'll try to lift you up one at a time through that hole in the ceiling, and we will escape this sand.
All right, where are we at? 16, that is a success. All right, so Camm's able to lift Xamxes up and place them out on top of this. Are we on top of the building? Yes or no? 11. And that's an extreme yes. And another random event. Okay. Oh geez, this is wild. Okay, so not only we're on top of the building, it's very high up, and we can see. Let me take care of the first random event first, and then we'll come back to that second one. Whoa, we're just all over the place today. It turns out that it's actually a very tall building, and so they've got some vantage. So Camm gets Xamxes squared away, and then comes back down to try to rescue our new companion, Auntie. 3. Oh, okay. Well, we're just going to make it a story point. So Camm tries to come back down, but is, worn out from flying with Xamxes, and grabs onto Auntie and is flying back up, and the sand keeps pouring in. Oh, there's just all sorts of sand. Even though it's a really tall building, like this sandstorm is just crazy. It's just crazy nuts. And maybe there's wind, and Camm's arms are fatigued, and Camm just can't hold on and says, I'm sorry, I can't hold on, and drops Auntie, and Auntie goes falling, no, and gets swallowed up by the sand, and Camm was not able to save this one goose. Ooh, how is Camm going to handle that? How is Camm going to be able to carry that forward, saving their friend, but not their new companion? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, so they're up on top of the building, and Xamxes says, where's Auntie? And Camm says, I wasn't able to hold on. And of course, the sand is swirling around, and like the sandstorm is just really intense and really just filling up even this very tall building. It's just covering up like so much of it. Okay, so back to that first random event. One of our threads is that in the storm, there are faces searching for this lost relic. And so from their vantage point, they see not only is there sand, but there's these weird faces that kind of are moving around like ghosts. And they see them sort of like focused around. They can see in the distance, they can see to Liza's tower, where we know she's, got a dungeon underneath, and they see there's sort of like a focus around there, and they can see the sand ghosts, the sand faces sort of like hunting out, and they can sort of hunting out the crafts, the enforcer crafts that Liza has stolen, and her minions, and they're really just sort of like hunting on her and focusing on her, and they're saying things like, you stole it, you stole it. And so what they come to realize or come to learn is that perhaps Liza has stolen some sort of object, some sort of artifact, and the sandstorms that have been plaguing and then have intensified, or sort of retribution for this theft of whatever this relic is. And so they've, and our heroes won't necessarily know this yet, but our threat of stopping Liza from taking over the city is totally gone. I assume what that means is that the storm has totally wiped out Liza and her minions for this transgression, whatever it was around this relic that maybe she was using as part of her power play, or maybe it was giving her power or whatever. And that's why it intensified at this moment. But anyway, now, so we've got that, and now we've got another random event that we have to deal with. So let's roll up to see what that is. We're just all over the place. 60. Move away from a thread. All right, so another one. All right. 7. Okay, so that is the one we just closed. I get to pick one. You know what? I sort of already, we're going to kind of retroactively apply that because I brought in those storm faces, just sort of on my own. We'll say that that was from this one. Yeah, we'll sort of like fold that all in. So we'll choose the storm faces, and that's how we'll get that one in. Yeah, it's all good. Whatever, we're doing whatever we want. So current situation is city is like totally blanketed in sand. You know, these sand ghosts sort of, you know, totally terrorizing the city, but mostly focused on Liza and her forces, wiping them out. And Camm and Xamxes are up on top of this building. So they're watching all this happening. And Camm turns to Xamxes and says,
"Now, I'm not sure, but it seems to be that those faces in the sandstorm are hunting Liza and her forces, and they're looking for something. They're saying she stole it, or so I wonder if Liza stole something that angered this storm. And if so, perhaps we should go to Liza's tower and try to return whatever it is, or see what's going on."
And Xamxes says, "Yes, all of GOZR City is in trouble. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to find out what's happening." So they were here on this abandoned building. They could see Liza's tower to the south by the river. So they're going to try to fly through the storm and try to get to the tower and see what's going on. So Camm's flying is still active, I assume, because we're still sort of in the same sort of time frame. All right, so we're going to try to prowess, carrying Xamxes, and also navigating, you know, this sandstorm. All right, that's a 9. Ooh, okay, so that's a graze. A miss with a benefit. They're flying, and Camm is trying to hold on to Xamxes, but still fresh in Camm's memory is, you know, losing ante to the sandstorm. And of course, there's these sand faces that are sort of whipping around, not like targeting them directly, but there's still this wild storm that they're trying to navigate through and trying to get to this tower. And it just gets to this point where Camm's like, I can't do it. And they get knocked by some sand, and they fall a great ways down. They don't make it to the tower, but we'll say the advantage is they land on some soft sand, so they don't take any damage, and they're, you know, almost to the tower. They made it partway to the tower, so we'll say they're sort of like right kind of in this area. And at this point, the streets don't matter because everything's just covered in sand, and it's pretty high up. All right, here's what I'm thinking. We'll call that the end of the scene. That was sort of the escaping the sand, figuring out what's going on scene. I would not quite call that in control, so we're going to raise chaos again. So now we're up at 8. What? And now what's going to happen next is, right, they have to sort of navigate this sort of sandstorm, sand-covered city to try to get to the tower. And there's a whole bunch of things that might happen. So I think I'll just sort of like make a list of ideas of things that might happen, things that they might encounter. And then we'll sort of roll on a little mini table that I'll whip up right now. All right, so next scene, we got to roll our chaos die. And our chaos is at 8, so more than likely things aren't... Oh, 9. Okay, so we're headed as expected. So they're trying to navigate their way through the shifting sandstorm to try to get to the tower. And I'm going to say that, yes, Camm did cast fly to get here, but because they failed the roll and the sandstorm is just so powerful, it just doesn't make sense to fly any further than they've already gotten. So let's see what happens. So I came up with 4 things that they might encounter. So let's just kind of roll on this little improvised encounter table. 4, they're going to find a helpful object. All right, I'll roll on this treasure table and see what happens. See if the thing that we get is actually helpful or not. All right, so what kind of treasure do we find? Frivolous junk. Okay, so maybe not, but we'll see. All right, that's a D100. We rolled a 12. We found some chewing gum. They're, making their way over these dunes, and then maybe they're sort of on the far side of a dune, so the sand and the wind is sort of blowing over, but they're sheltered somewhat. And there's all these crates of like stuff that's like been broken open and destroyed, and there's all this chewing gum, these packs of chewing gum that are spread all over. I don't exactly know how this is going to be helpful, but they collect some up. We'll both pick up, 1 item slot's worth of chewing gum packs. An encounter or mini encounter table. 1. All right, so they encounter some of Liza's minions. So they make their way through and down. Maybe there's sort of like a corridor sort of in between taller buildings. So that makes sort of a canyon, and there's still lots of sand and things are blowing through. But they find a contingent of, Liza's minions, and they've got the green clover spears. And we did say that the faces are really hunting them out. Are these minions currently under attack by the storm faces? 89. No, they're not. This little unit has taken shelter. Let's roll on a reaction table to see sort of what their mood is currently. Cunning of 10, 11, ambivalent. So they approach, and Xamxes says,
comrades, see who are also have been caught in the storm. May we take shelter with you?
And the minions sort of like, whatever, they sort of shrug. They look super scared. They're like super suspicious. They've been hunted. They've been hounded. Yeah, but they sort of, make a little space. Camm and Xamxes come to join them. How many are there? Let's roll like a 2d6. Okay, 5. Okay, so there's 5 of them. I think that tracks with earlier. They sort of come in units of about 5. I'm going to have Xamxes roll cunning again to try to see if they can pick up any information from the conversation about what's going on. Okay, 15. Oh yeah, so they definitely do. So what are they talking about? That's helpful. I think there's like a conversation table in Mythic. Character conversations, great. Let's roll twice. All right, 24. Crazy. 65. Loud. Okay. Minions sort of return to their conversation, and they're saying things like,
"Oh man, those voices are so loud, and they've just. I was in the tower, and I heard the voices come down, howling and shrieking, and I thought I was losing my mind. They seem to be attacking us directly. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. I'm not sure what's happened."
And Xamxes asks, do you have any idea what might have caused all this? I don't know. Let's roll on the fate chart. 50-50. Are they aware? 49. Yes. We've already decided that it's the relic, right? Because we have that from the thread. There's this treasure table, but some of it is like money and junk. So we'll just roll, and if we get something that doesn't really make sense for what we're thinking, because it did say relic. So 5. Odd armor. D6, 6, so we'll say blue is 10's place. 25. A door shield. Big, slow, can shield 2. So one of the minions says,
I don't know for sure, but I think it might have something to do with that strange door that Liza brought back from her expedition. Everything started changing around then. I don't know what it is about that door.
Xamxes asked.
Can you tell us where this door might be located?
And it seems like, yeah, he would know. And he describes, is it, are we going to have to go up the tower, or are we going to have to go down the tower? 1 for up, 2 for down. 2 for down.
Oh yes, she took it down into the depths underneath the tower by the dungeons. That's where I saw it last.
And Camm pipes in and says,
Well, it seems like that's what the storm wants, is that door. We might need to return it from where it came from. Will you help us? Will you help us go back into Liza's dungeons and retrieve this door?
will they? It was Camm asking, so cunning is not great, but we'll try it. 10? No. One of the minions says,
No, we're getting out of here. We're getting far away from here as we can. You're on your own. The tower's that way. We've told you enough. You can probably figure out the rest on your own.
So Camm and Xamxes say, but thank you, and the minions sort of pack up their stuff and they're heading out. And they're heading closer to the tower, and they're going to have one more thing left to encounter on this list. I've only got 2 things left, so we'll go 1, 2. All right, 2. Helpful NPCs. Somebody we know? 50-50. I don't know. And that is a 5. It is absolutely somebody we know. The Oracle is very enthusiastic about that. So 2, and then roll 2. Oh, okay. This hasn't come up yet. But as part of Camm's wizardness, Camm has a watcher, someone who observes what Camm is doing, and we decided that, or we rolled up that it was a peppy child watcher. There's sort of a large stretch out in front of the tower. The wind is howling, and the sand is blowing. And as they come up and make their way up into the tower, the child, as it often is just sort of standing and watching, totally unperturbed by the storm, just and smiling and saying, oh, just sort of like laughing and giggling to themselves. And as they pass by, the child is just like, all right, have fun in there. We'll be watching. And we'll call that an end to that scene. All right, I think we're gonna stop it there. So in our next episode, we'll kind of go down into the dungeons. I might come up with some encounter tables, or I'll look at what we've got in the book and see what tables we have to support that. But thanks so much for watching. If you are enjoying this, please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate it. And until next time, this is Science Fantasy Awesome, and you are awesome.